All right. Good evening, guys. This is Chidi Ben, um, the management consultant, effective consultant, resources development, popularly known as ECRD professionals. This evening, we want to have a very brief, a very quick interview on CV crafting. Okay, CV building and CV crafting. That's what I want to do. And here with me is Stella Bassi, the admin of Effective Content and Resources Development. And she will be interviewing me on about 7 different questions on CV building and CV crafting. So just listen and get great values from this interview session. All right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So let's start with curriculum vitae.
All right.
What is it?
All right. Curriculum vitae, like the name implies, is what is referred to as a life history. But like I've always said in all of my lectures, I like to call it a career history. And the reason is that a career history makes it easy, or makes it very easy for people to understand what it is. Now, what is a career? A career is what we refer to as continuous progression of a person's work and professional life. So which means curriculum vitae talks about how much values you have built over the years, all right, as a career person. So that's what a curriculum vitae is.
Okay. Now the nomenclature.
All right, CV nomenclature, we're talking about how the name of a thing is given. That's what we're talking about when we talk about CV nomenclature. And the words curriculum vitae actually comes from about 3 different people, all right? The British actually referred to it as curriculum vitae, but the United States referred to it as resume. So for those of you who may have been confusing the both, you don't need to be confused anymore, because it's just how the names originated from different persons. But Australians actually refer to it as CV or resume. That's as curriculum vitae or resume. So you are free to refer to this as curriculum vitae. You can also refer to it as resume, whichever. What matters is that this is referred to as career history, like I like to call it, rather than calling it life history. And let me make a quick connect, of these both names actually. If you like to call it the life history, it's still okay. But calling the career history helps us to drive home what it really means. Because you can't really have a life without a career. And our career determines the solutions we bring to our world. So when you have a life, it means that that life should have had values built alongside, which helps in contributing, to the impact that humanity feels. All right. So call it life history, call it a career history, whichever they want to call it. Our concern is that values should have been built over the years of your active period, okay, as a career person, which invariably enables your impact on humanity.
Okay, so from what you're saying, it means that before we start clamoring on building a CV, we should have, done impacts already.
Yeah, okay, no, not really like doing impact already. We should be talking about the way I usually put it is before you start writing a CV or crafting a CV, you should have been able to build a CV. Okay. Meaning that trying an attempt to write a CV, getting a pen and a paper, or going on your computer set to begin to type a CV, before you do that, you should have thought about the fact of years of building values. A CV is made up of values, all right? And these values are not built in a day. That's what we're trying to say. So before you talk about writing a CV, typing a CV, you should have considered building a CV. Building a CV. So that takes you through processes of professional trainings and certifications, academic processes, experiences, conferences and seminars, personal studies and development. All of these would have helped you to build value so that your CV can be characterized with substance.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at what makes a CV worth it.
Yeah, what makes a CV what it is actually what I had, rightly talked about prior to your question. All right? A CV can only be said to have worth when that CV has all the necessary elements that makes up the CV. For instance, if you have a CV written and in the space of job experience there is nothing put there, it means that your CV is lacking. And then somebody may wonder, but I just graduated from school. I've not had an opportunity to work. Now, you graduate from school. The next 5, 6 months, you are home. Why did you not go for a volunteer job? Why do you not go for an intern as an intern? Because doing all of this would have helped to add, that aspect of a CV which makes up the elements of a CV. So quickly, your CV should have some basic elements, and these basic elements runs across educational qualification. Having to do with your academic qualification, your BSc, your HND, your BEd. For some persons, their OND and all of that. Your masters, your academic qualification actually takes care of that. But there's another aspect to education that has to do with professional qualification. And there are two ways that this is looked at. Professional training and certifications. For instance, you attended certain trainings with certain organizations, all right, and you were given certificate. You should be able to highlight those trainings as they are related to your pursuits. The second one is actually going beyond just doing trainings and having certifications to belonging to professional organizations or institutions, okay, related to your own career pursuits. Why? Because when you do that, it helps you to stay on course regards to what we call, CPD, continuous professional development. And I can tell you, if you're not on course, like career defined, continuous progression of a work and professional life, then you will be having issues building a worth for a CV. So you have educational qualification. You have, professional qualification, like we said, under it, academic and professional. And then you have work experience. Then you have skill set. Skill set is usually split into two major aspects. What is called non-cognitives and then cognitives. Cognitives has to do with those skills that you must acquire. For instance, I give you one example. An accountant would need a Peachtree, all right, Oracle, MS Access, or any of the related packages for accounting. That comes under cognitive skills because you have to learn it. It's what we call prowess, all right? But the non-cognitives has to do those inherent abilities that you have. Like for instance, some persons could say they have leadership ability. That's leadership skills, communication skills. All right, they are called cross-functional skills because these are needed in every aspect of an organization, irrespective of your designation. You need these qualities, you need these capabilities. Other things, that could come under soft skills, which is still non-cognitive. Like for instance, ability to pay attention to people. All right, willingness, to seize opportunities. All right, such abilities are actually needed in every organization. Every organization needs workers who have such, and these are the things that helps to make up your CV. Another thing you could look at, apart from skill sets, is what we refer to as achievements, key achievements. The awards you have received, the projects that you have done while you were in school, outside school, with an association, with your former organization. All of these helps to build your CV. If you can have these major perspectives that I've mentioned, and then finally, which I've never seen on CVs around the globe, but I've been able to introduce this, due to my, years of being in the coaching world, for career persons. It's called job prospect. Your current employer or your supposed employer would want to know, all right, what your plan for the future is. And your CV should be able to tell us about that, all right? And what does it talk about? It talks about, one, what skills you want to build in the future. And you have to be specific, which means you must have a plan, because there is no goal without a plan. We are in 2021. So if you're having a CV currently, your prospect, for instance, could be 2021, 2024, okay, to 2024, all right? I want to have 1, 2, 3 skills, all right, in your career related and job related area. And the next thing should be, okay, your practice area. What you want to upgrade to, what you want to upskill to, okay, the area you want to begin to practice in the future. All right, these two comes under your job prospect, and every employer would be happy, would love to have an employee who has such beautiful prospects. So these elements that I've mentioned, okay, outside hobbies, biodata and all of that, okay, these things I've mentioned are the key elements every career person must have to show that you're indeed a career person.
All right, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, with all these elements you've mentioned, we've heard that some people will say your CV should be 1 page, some will say 2 pages. Can it be contained? What do you have to say about that? Is there any specific number of pages your CV should be?
All right. Well, one of the ways to get to track what should be, all right, in most cases is when there is a law regulating certain things. However, there are contemporary approaches to how things are done. All right. Now, how do we look at this? The first thing I would say is that your CV should be concise. All right. But let's look at how it's being tracked. This is the way you track your CV or your resume. What is the job requirement? If a job requirement is such that requires that you have 5 skills, of course, those skills have to be highlighted. If the job requirement, of course, talks about certain educational qualification, it should be highlighted. So it is when you are done with finding out what the requirement for the job is. Remember, you have a CV that contains all your qualifications, all your acquisitions, all your capabilities. But when you're applying for a particular job, please, you've got to customize that CV. I think that's where you can achieve this, talking about how to concise your CV, to make your CV, concise. But I won't stay here to tell you your CV must be 2 pages or must not be up to 2 pages and all of that. I will only tell you this. Let your CV be concise as possible. But how do you achieve that? Look at the requirements of the job. Use the right terminologies, all right, and be brief in course of presenting your values, all right, to your supposed employer. I think that would have been it.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, given the states of the country now, one person could apply for more than 2 or 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Should we use the same CV to apply for them, or you have to customize CV for each of the jobs?
Yes, like I already said, you should have a parent CV that has all your qualifications, all your acquisitions, all your capabilities, and all of that. But if you have an opportunity to apply for 2, 3 jobs, these are related jobs. Their requirement may not be exactly the same. That is why the customization of your CV is important. So what should you do? Look at the requirement of the job. I've often said this, that the industry actually determines what you should be doing as a practitioner. And how does that work? Every organization has what is called a job design, because the job design actually determines what that job requires. And that's what informs what is called job qualification. So an employer who wants to recruit already should have known, supposedly, what the qualifications are. So that will enable you to know what you should put on a CV for a particular job you're applying for. So if you have two jobs you're applying for and they are not exactly the same jobs, you should be able to get these requirements. Let me give you a secret on how you can get this. You don't necessarily even need to see what the employer per se would be given, all right? Every industry has a system that drives the industry. And I've often said this. There are three major things that drives the systems of industry: the legal system, the technological system, and then the taste and preferences or the needs of customers. All of these are put together to determine what industries begin to put together, as what will inform their job design. All right. So if you are a career person who is given to research, to understanding the system of that drives the industry where your kind of skill or job is needed, then you should have had an idea of what is required. However, when a job vacancy is put out, all you need to do is look at what the requirements are. Let that inform what your CV contents, elements, and your CV design should look like.
Okay, so now finally, is there any specific design for CV? Do we have a specific design that is accepted?
There is no specific design for a CV, and that's just what it is. A lot of people don't understand this. Like, I can give you a quick example to this. In fact, I think after these lectures, a link also will be sent alongside for those who may want to access, a copy of our CV, of our document on CV crafting. That will be free of charge, but for a limited number of days for those of you who will be interested in getting this. Now, there is no specific design for a CV, but there are elements of a CV, okay, that are not negotiable. There are elements of a CV that are not negotiable. I have talked about that, all right? For instance, your CV must have your educational qualification. Talking about your academics and professional qualification, I'll explain that. It must have your work experience. That's why you must make effort to have that. It must also have your skill set, which is what is driving the industries of today. The world is speedily moving to skill, which means without skills, you cannot work. Then talk about key achievements, which informs your employer of how contributory you've been over the years in different, organizations. And then my new initiative, which is called Job Prospect, talk about it. Your employer wants to know how ready you are. It's actually called career learning trajectory. Okay? And this is one of the findings and propositions of LinkedIn and World Bank. It's called career learning trajectory. Every career person must have a trajectory, a learning trajectory, which explains your job prospects. Think about the skills you want to get in the next 3 years, and then think about the level and perspective of practice you want to get into in the next 3 years. That makes it. If you can have all of this, they are the elements of your CV that must be on your CV. Apart from these other things that makes up a CV. But when it comes to design, please, there are different ways that a CV could be designed. Some people decide to put their about them at the top. Some people even take it, by the side of the top, to the right side of the top, to the left side of the top, to the middle of the top. Some even take it, after other elements have been put. All right. And then again, for instance, some people decide to use a profile, okay, which gives information about them prosaically before they go to give the schematic views of their qualifications. Some people also use objective. When you're using objective, you must still have to reflect who you are and then go for that specifically to what you want to achieve working with an organization. Like, for instance, gaining experience on the job, building for the skills, and contributing to productivity and profits of the organization. That's an objective. So I can decide to use objective. Someone can decide to use a profile. Some people even use the word summary. Some people don't even put any of this, but they'll make a prosaic statement talking about themselves and what they want to get and what they want to contribute. There is no specific design for preparing a CV. And I can tell you, if you have been able to build values over the years, is it putting it down that should be a problem? It shouldn't be a problem. That's why we should be able to understand that the key thing about CV building is actually the element or are the elements of the CV. However, there is no crime in finding out how people have individually done their designs, how organizations have accepted various designs, and then take a cue from that and then make up your design. Let me let you know that CV samples and designs are actually basically subjective. All right? The objective thing about CV building are the elements of a CV. So go ahead and search for designs and samples, and then of course make it very understandable and easy to read by your supposed recruiters.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, please, you give us the last word for those out there who are struggling with CV. Just kind of precise last words.
All right. One of the last words I'm going to give more precisely is to say that a CV is built over the years. So please give yourself to development. Continuous professional development is an in thing right now. And of course, according to the prediction of LinkedIn, all right, alongside World Bank, which was put forward by World Economic Forum 2018, 7 job or professional clusters have been made clear, all right, to us that will be emerging or that has already started emerging, all right, that will displace already existing models of work, all right. This era is an era where existing models of work are being displaced. Like for instance, robots are used to do the job of human beings. Certain softwares have been put up that they begin to do certain jobs automatically without the involvement of good number of persons as it used to be, right? Professions are changing in styles and methods, all right? What does that mean? Like for instance, when it comes to source of energy, okay, we are getting to understand right now that people in the environmental engineering world and other related fields need to begin to build source of energy like solar, like hydro, like wind, like biomass. What does that tell you? It tells you that people in their various professions need to think about upskilling, need to think about upgrading, need to think about advancing the cause of their practice. And that is the in thing about CV building. Writing a CV as somebody who has built your intellectual powers shouldn't be a problem. However, if you're challenged on how you should put or present your CV, that's why we are here. Our link, of course, will put forward to you. You can always reach us on our website. We have a provision for people who want a very beautiful or beautifully presented CV. You know, we can always do that at a very reduced cost and help to advise you further on how to go about charting your career course. This is my advice for all career persons that we come across this live presentation this evening.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you too. So we're coming your way some other time. Don't forget, my organization, which is Effective Consultant Resources Development, popularly known as ECRD Professionals, actually does 2 major things, and that is human development and organization system development. And in these 2 areas, we do, a number of things like business, coaching, consultancy, training. We also do career coaching, consultancy, training, and then under career, coaching, consultancy, and training, we also do what we call safety. All right, because safety comes under human resource management. So we are experts in occupational safety and health, career, and then business. So you can always reach us on our website www.ecrdprofessionals.org. I'll take it again, www.ecrdprofessionals.org. There you can find varieties of values, all right, that you can get from effective consults, all right, at a very affordable rate. I'll come your way some other time. I remain Chidi Ben. Thank you and bye.